So Pakistan are still alive. India beat the US after a bit of a struggle to secure their place in the group Super 8. But now US will have to make sure that they beat Ireland to rest with peace and know that Pakistan can't catch up to them because they're on 4, Pakistan are on 2. So for the match, it was a good bowling performance by Arshdeep and a mature knock by Surya that helped India cross the line. So what did you take away from that match, Ayaz?
Well, I think Surya Kumar Yadav getting runs, also Shivam Dubey getting some runs. It eases the worries about the middle order. But obviously, the big dampener was Virat Kohli getting out first ball. So I mean, you can't fault a batsman too much if he's out first ball. But yet, on this series, on this tour of the World Cup, Virat hasn't done much with the bat. So maybe a little kind of a niggling worry in the camp. I don't see it as too much of a serious concern because remember, after the last match in this phase, everything, the action shifts to the West Indies, the pitches are different. Yeah. The whole scenario will change in the Super 8. And that's when you need people of mettle and great experience. But having said that, I think Arshdeep really has been in this first stage of the tournament, Arshdeep has been really the big star along with Jasprit Bumrah. So there's the good thing for India is that they found a combo where Bumrah is really the spearhead and the linchpin. He's the leader of the attack. But Arshdeep has shaped up extremely well as his opening partner, as his new ball partner. Siraj, not amongst the wickets, has bowled reasonably well. So this threesome has formed the fulcrum of the attack. And now I think the challenge in the bowling is going to be, amongst the spinners. Akshar Patel seems to be a nose ahead of Ravindra Jadeja at this stage. But then again, as I said, experience will start counting more and more as we advance to the Super 8. So we'll have to wait and see how the Indian team management thinks this through. But I thought that the struggle to beat US may actually stand them in good stead. It's not if you steamroll over an opponent, you've got the points. But if you have for instance, if you had won very easily, then you wouldn't have had Surya Kumar Yadav spending enough time in the middle or Shivam Dubey. So things have worked to India's advantage. Where Pakistan's concerned, really uphill task still because they are not too far, not very impressive on the net run rate. They still have to win the last match, and a lot depends on what the US does against Ireland.
Yeah, so I was getting to that next. So the US take on Ireland tomorrow, and if the US do lose that match, Pakistan would know exactly what they would need in terms of net run rate. So in that scenario, do you see a sense return of the corner Tigers?
Well, it could be. I mean, look, if they get a foothold into the Super 8, then obviously Pakistan then suddenly becomes a major factor, a major player. I mean, consider the other scenario. They don't, and it's US which goes into the Super 8. There will be a lot of ease amongst other teams in the Super 8. We have to play US. Yeah. But if it's going to be playing against Pakistan, then plans have to be recast. The whole talk in the dugout amongst players themselves, tactics will start changing. So, Pakistan getting into the Super 8 can put a lot of, throw in a lot of elements, exciting elements also. But, they haven't really looked the part so far. So, US, I think they need to watch their, if they beat Ireland, they're obviously in. Yeah. But beyond that, I can see Pakistan will also have to notch up their net run rate, isn't it?
Yeah. So for me, as we end the what do you call fortnight of cricket in the US before we move to the Caribbean, my abiding memory from this fortnight has been that monster of a New York pitch, and that's why you see all the teams struggling there. And yesterday, after the first innings, I personally thought that US could make a fight out of it, and they did for a while. So, what was your abiding memory from this fortnight?
I must say that I enjoyed the low-scoring matches in the sense that they at least made the matches competitive. So the pitch has been a factor. But having said that, if the pitches are so dubious, then they also kind of load the contest too much in favor of the bowlers. I think India were lucky that US didn't have a very experienced attack to take full help from this pitch because Netravalkar had done extremely well. And despite that, if India have still won, it's because the US attack wasn't, as well-rounded or as experienced. So it's good to have sporting pitches. It's not so good to have pitches which are so loaded in favor of bowlers. I think it's a balance that you need to strike. Much as one says the pitch is loaded entirely in favor of batsmen, actually might produce, kind of thrills and spills which are not necessarily riveting. You can have bowlers getting bludgeoned by batsmen with both fours and sixes, but the match is not holding that edge of seat excitement.
Yeah. And hopefully all that evens out now. We head to the Caribbean. And as you were saying, the India are expected to bring in more spinners, so maybe Akshar has the edge over Jadeja. And also, I was going to ask you about Bumrah not being given the new ball. I mean, they might do it once they get in more spinners, but he is your most potent weapon, so why not give him that first pick?
You see, conventionally, or if you look at the last maybe a year since the time he's come back, 8-9 months, he's been bowling first change. And then I think the strategy with Bumrah is get him into the middle overs so that the runs are, there's no spiraling surge in the run making, and then get him towards the end. So you have only, each bowler has only 4 overs. So you have to really space it out well. So far, I think Rohit has done a wonderful job. But a lot will change, Anirudh, when matches start being played in the West Indies. We've seen even in the match New Zealand versus West Indies. Somebody like Moti coming into his own. New Zealand struggling, losing this match too. They are really struggling to stay afloat. I don't know. I don't think they'll succeed, but they are really struggling. So I think the slow bowlers are going to become a factor, not just for the spinners themselves, but also how the batsmen cope with it. So that's why I think that a lot of there'll be lots of tactical changes, not so much in the playing complement for teams like India, which have a well settled kind of unit, but in other teams, I think they'll start looking at which players to play where and how to accommodate the spinners who could win you matches.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, US Ireland tomorrow, India Canada on Saturday, and Pakistan Ireland on Sunday. And we'll get back to you when we have more clarity on who's going through. So yeah, that's it for this episode of Sports Room. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Andrew. We'll catch up soon.